Hey everyone, this is Katie from Moonflower Moments. I'm doing a deck acquisition video today. So for deck acquisition videos, I run through all of the new decks that are in my collection, as well as kind of brainstorm some ways with y'all on how I can use them. So if you have any of these decks in your collection and you have specific roles that they play, or you have pairings that you like, I would love to hear y'all's input, because it's especially important for me to have specific places for all of my decks in my collection. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started with one of the ones I'm most excited about, and that is going to be my Out of Hand Tarot deck. This is the Pocket Edition. So this is by Jamie Sawyer. I've really wanted to get decks from her for quite some time. I just haven't been able to. I haven't had the funds. And so when I saw that this deck was coming out in a pocket size edition, which was more affordable, I absolutely jumped at this. So I can see why people are Jamie Sawyer mega fans. I'm really impressed with this deck and just its unique take on the tarot. Many of the cards have a little subtle nod to the original Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, but a lot of them have a genius take. So this is the Eight of Wands, and it reminds me a lot of airplanes that are flying through the sky with like these different colors. So there's that sense of swiftness that comes through that I think is really clever. But like with the Seven of Cups here, we have this background, which is very reminiscent of a traditional RWS deck. And so I like all of the little touches that are in this deck that we can see. I think this is one that I'm definitely going to use with clients, because I feel like the more room we leave for clients to see themselves, the more likely they are to really resonate with the message. And so if you've used this for clients, I would love to hear your input. So one of my favorite things about this is the little Easter eggs that are in this deck. So the Page of Cups, this is the message if you want to pause it. But we have in this guidebook a little Easter egg. So a fish is showcased in the cup. The clothing of the child is wearing reflects a similar water lily pattern, as well as lilies on the windowsill in a cup that pays homage to the original RWS version. Waves are painted in the playroom walls. So it'll actually tell you the little nods. I can see this water lily, which is really reminiscent of, isn't that the clothing that the Page of Cups wears in the original RWS? So all of these cards just have a unique take, and then the nod to the RWS is explained really nicely in the guidebook. So this is nice. I like the vocations coming clear for the Page of Swords. So this is someone who's like a broadcaster, for example. Totally makes sense for me with the I'm going to get the information out there kind of energy of the Page of Swords. So this is a nice, cute little deck. If you've used it for clients, I would love to know how it read, because I think that's where it's going to sit for me. If you have deck pairings for it, I also want to hear that one too. Okay. So another one is not a brand new deck, but it's one that is newer in my collection. I have the 78 Doors. I got this in December, but I'm struggling a little bit to find a home for it. So what I'm thinking about doing for this deck is perhaps creating some sort of portal spread. I think I'm going to create a spread from scratch that really focuses on the metaphoric language of the doors and the portals that we go through in life. So maybe some kind of endings and beginnings and kind of cyclical nature of that. So if that's how you use this deck, I would love to hear that. I feel like it's a pretty basic way to use it. I also think that this one could be used for clients pretty well, because we have people that are doing things. So this is the the Seven of Swords, and this woman is taking like a very abstract approach to painting this door, which is different to like the trickery and deceit that we usually see. It really is kind of like she's taking the opportunity with the seven, which is associated with personal development, to try to stretch beyond her mental realm or her normal way of thinking. And I find that to be really cool. I like that this isn't a straight RWS clone, but it still has the people in it, so I'm able to read for people and let the messages come in as they need. So this one isn't brand new, but I'm still going to consider it a recent deck acquisition because it hasn't quite found its home. But these are just some ideas that I thought could work. I like it. It's cool. I definitely bought it on a bit of a whim. I was in a shop and I wanted a tarot deck, and that's basically how that happened. Okay, another one that's not a new deck acquisition, but I'm struggling to find a home for. hopefully you can brainstorm this one with me too, is my Broken Mirror Tarot. My best friend got me this for Christmas, and I just absolutely love these like gorgeous shiny edges. So I think my problem with this deck is that it's so hard for me to read. I do have terrible eyes to begin with. I wear glasses, but those glasses oftentimes are not the best for me. And like we have the tiniest little font, like Wheel of Fortune. So sometimes, like for the Wheel of Fortune, I might see this and I might think it's like the sun or the moon. So I really kind of have to sit a second and look at what the image is trying to show me, which can be a good thing. Like I do like decks that don't throw answers at me, like decks that I have to kind of work to receive the answer. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that I've noticed while working with this deck. So one thing that I've also noticed is that these images remind me a lot of images from other decks. So this is the Seven of Wands, and it reminds me a lot of the Druidcraft Ace of Wands. I'll try to put a picture up on the screen if I remember. And I know it's not like exactly the same, but there's something about like this cliff being separated that reminds me of it. And so I'm thinking that I could also do a little bit of a practice with it where maybe like I pull a card from this deck. Let's see. That's not really a good example. Okay, this one. So this is Queen of Swords. This color tone, especially because it's more muted and it's very like swordsy, being that it's the Queen of Swords, duh, hello, kind of reminds me of Spirit Keeper's Tarot. So I might pull like a card from here and be like, oh, Queen of Coins, what does this one kind of remind me of? Ooh, I think this one maybe reminds me of the Prophet Oracle because of the way this woman is like situated in a very kind of languid form, giving out this pentacle. And maybe kind of let it like free form speak to me like that. I have done that with some decks before, so I don't know, it's just throwing that idea out there. But if this is a deck that you love and you use, let me know. Another way I think I could use it is with these little haikus. So these are translated. I don't know what from which language. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what language that is, but I wish I did. And some of the haikus are quite good, and some of them are quite kind of crazy. So we're going to look at the Queen of Swords. Let's try to find. So she's pretty good. The queen was attracted by the conflict. She tells you to ignore the two. She tells you the land of inner self has its own rules. You don't need to be worried. I mean, I feel like it could work, but like, what was she tells you to ignore the two. What are the two? I don't know. I feel like because this is translated, it's almost like I could do a spread based off of the guidebook alone. I don't know. It's worth a thought. I like doing kooky things with my cards and kind of making things work. It's fun to me. I never really get sick of like trying to figure out where decks like fit in my collection and just kind of going at it from there. Okay, so that was that one. So those are the ones that are kind of quick that I can show you. The next one I want to show you is one that a viewer suggested to me. I finally did it. I finally bought the Candace G Oracle. So this is an ecological spiritual guide and creative prompt deck. Y'all, the first time that I pulled from this deck, these are the cards. I pulled this card, You Are a Multitude. And I was not prepared for the multitude of wealth that came in this guidebook. So let me go ahead and show you where we're at. I'll go ahead and kind of flip through this slowly too, so if you want to pause to read, you're more than welcome to. So with You're a Multitude, we have this section here, which is essentially a pathworking meditation. We have keynotes, which, I mean, guys, just listen to this. Consider the supremacy of the ego and the identity it projects. Consider the mysteries of where your thoughts come from and where, if any, they exist. That is a radically intense thought, and I love that so much. We have symbology. We have guidance. So this is like why you pulled the card. You have more questions. We have icon. We have portal. We have practice. We have creative prompts. We have an ecological connection. And then finally, we have that last page, which is tying everything up together and giving you like advice on how to embrace the card. So I find this to be a fat, juicy, gorgeous guidebook. Okay, guys, so I don't think I'm really in the headspace to do a specific deck study. I did just finish Tarot Vampires. So I think that even though I know people are pulling one card a week, because this is a 52 card deck, So you can do like 1 card a week. I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to have these as altar cards along with, say for example, my Story Through Stones, my Tarot Botanical, my Illuminated Deck of Holy Souls. Those are kind of my standard altar cards. And I think I'm going to put this there. So this is not going to be a deck that goes into my normal working rotation. It's going to be one that I pull one deck. I'm sorry, not one deck. One card from, and I just kind of sink into the messages through the week. But I find this to be incredibly lovely. I didn't realize until I had this deck in my hands exactly how similar my practice is to this. I really do love thinking in a creative direction, especially using nature as a metaphor for that creativity, but also appreciating the creativity that naturally comes from nature. And so your pinky finger turns into a bird. I don't know what the hell this means, but I'm so excited to read the guidebook and find out. Like, it's enough weirdness that it intrigues me. But then what the worms know, this is a gut punch to my soul. It is just so beautiful. What the worms know. Yes, what do the worms know? I want to know what the worms know. Touching the Star-Kissed Leaf, another one. I'm not exactly sure what the hell this means, but I'm down for the ride. So thank you to my viewer who suggested to this one to me, because I feel like this has definitely found its home with me. All right, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that deck number 4? Okay, so we have, ooh, how many do I have left to go? I have 3 left to go. Another quick one that I would like to show you is my Into the Lonely Woods Oracle. I don't know exactly why I bought this or why I was feeling called to purchase it, but I saw this on someone's Instagram page, and there's sometimes where we just see a deck and we're like, I need to have that deck right now. And that was my experience with this. I've looked at it before and I've had it on my wish list for a little while, but there was something about seeing it at like 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of the night after I had like a rough night the night before, where I was like, oh, I think I might actually need this one. So I know that this is a deck that is really commonly used to work with like 5 of Cups feelings. I have a deck that I use called Mystical Dreams that I bring to therapy, and I use that to help me through my 5 of Cups feelings. And my therapist is like very open with me bringing tarot and oracle, so I think I might like throw this one in and see how it works. And even if I don't like read in a how did this make me feel and like pull a card way, but instead like I flip through the deck and use it as kind of like flashcards to explain to him, like, maybe I felt that I had to hide my light. Maybe this image in particular where someone is comforting me is how I felt when someone acknowledged me after a while. Maybe I can use this as a tool to help me communicate those feelings to my therapist, but also to work through them for myself. So I think that this is going to be another one of my therapy decks. I think it'll stick in my little bag. So I'm excited about that. If this is one you have, I would love to know how you use it. I know it's a heavy deck, but I feel like I don't have anything that is quite this deep and quite this like thematically focused on grief and loneliness. And I feel like I need something like this. So yeah, I bought it. I've only pulled a couple cards from it, and they were on pretty chipper days. And so I don't know if the message didn't align with me just because like emotionally I wasn't in that space, but like I really wanted to use this deck. I don't know, but I think it'll work for me on the days that I need it, but it's not going to be something that's regular practice for me. Other than, of course, when, like I said, I bring it to therapy. All right, so let's keep trekking. So I want to show you a deck match that I've been using. Let's do this one first. So a recent deck that I got in was the Totem Flower Essence deck. And this is one, I think when I saw it on Amazon, I was a little bit like intrigued by it because of the color. And then when I got it in and I realized exactly how moody of a palette this is, I was very pleased that I could call it mine. So the basic premise of this deck is that the creator, her name is Rachel White. Let me make sure that's her last name. Yeah, Rachel White. She makes flower essences out of her garden. And so she takes all of these different flower essences and makes like, oh, I actually have one here because I used one this morning. This one is like chill pill. So you're supposed to take this essence to help you when you need like a sense of calm and relaxation. And so this features the flower essences that she makes. And I really appreciate that I'm like actually getting to see her relationship with this particular set of plants. So in the guidebook, for example, let's get to one that I know has a beautiful writing on it. Let's do lavender. So she includes in the guidebook, here we go, made of lavender. She gives you, modern life is very, very stressful and our nervous systems are all worse for the wear. Lavender flower essence brings an immediate sense of calm and inner peace to the energy body, offering a crucial break in the world of endless stimulation. So it relaxes you, it restores you. It has positive qualities. So these are how this essence shows up positively in your life. And then patterns of imbalance. Fight or flight reactions to typical life events, feelings of anxiety, trouble relaxing or sleeping. So if you are not embracing the lavender energy of serenity, this is what your life would look like. Fight or flight reaction to typical life events. I think that's really cool. I like how it's called patterns of imbalance because it's like, oh, I have something that I can balance, you know? It's not like shadow or like reversal or anything like that. Pattern of imbalance is like, I don't know, it has positive language. So I have been thinking of using these decks together, but I have not done it yet. This is my NOLA Tarot Cats. I think I'm going to edge this in black. I haven't decided yet. But I just feel like with the moody colors, these are just so friendly to each other. Moody jewel tones always remind me of summertime. Yeah, here we go. So I just feel like these need to go together. I especially feel because Rachel is from Texas and I'm from Louisiana, a lot of the plants she features I have in my own garden. So it's like I kind of think I want to throw in the NOLA Tarot Cats because it touches on that same geographic area. And like it's wacky, like I like this. I feel like the NOLA Tarot Cats is sometimes like so off the wall that I'm like, all right guys, like what are we doing here? Miss like girl in her like dress. Miss, I'm trying to like carry all 7 of my swords. And so it might be nice to have like kind of a grounding force that's here in the middle for it. So I haven't tried it, but maybe it's something like what is the absurd and what is the rooted? I think that could work. So haven't tried this pair, but I think I might give it a shot. If you have the Flower Essences Oracle, I would love to hear from you of how you use it. All right. So now I have 2 more left, and I saved the 2 last ones I think are some of my most exciting ones. I think this is a good little bunch though. I've been bringing in, I feel like the longer you read tarot, at least this is the truth for me, I get better and better at knowing what I like. And so it's just been nice that a lot of the stuff I've been bringing in lately just like hits. All right, so I'm going to show you a deck family I made. So this is not a new deck, but this is the Voyager Tarot, and I have been struggling for years. Okay, I say years. I've been struggling for less than a year. I got this deck in like May to figure out where it fits in my collection because the artwork is really busy. And so the other day I was sitting down and I was playing with some of my new decks and I was like, ooh, I think I can use it with Voyagers. So I've been using this deck with 2 different new decks, but I'm going to show you this match first. This is Raven's Prophecy. Oh, I love this so much. So I'm going to talk about Raven's Prophecy and then I'll talk about how I use them together. Oh, I love this so freaking much. Okay, let me make sure I'm in screen. Okay. So I find that with Voyager's Tarot, it's hard to find matches for it. Just because these borders are like outrageously colorful. So it's almost like I felt like I needed a deck that was just as outrageously colorful like the Raven's Prophecy to kind of like stand up to the wackiness of these colors. I think the Raven's Prophecy came into my life at the exact time. I'm actually having a really great time using it because I used the Crow Tarot all throughout winter. And that really was my bird deck. So I feel like we've kind of stepped away from the crows. The crows have gone to sleep because wintertime is almost over. And now we are embracing the beautiful ravens. And these beautiful ravens have these bright orange colors. There's a lot of boisterous energy, something that's like very sweet and very colorful. That reminds me a lot of springtime. So I know that most people associate the Raven's Prophecy with autumn, and I think I probably will associate it too, but this is definitely brighter than like the Crow Tarot, so I think it's just like my brighter bird deck is what I'm going to think of it as. I appreciate that the Raven's Prophecy has so many like hands, and that within these hands we have like these like scars of the emblems of the elements. There's something really guttural and very primal about that makes me want to work with this this imagery and this deck, because it feels so innately attuned to power. I just really appreciate this. So the way that I've been using these two together has been essentially using Raven's Prophecy as kind of a foothold into what's going on here. So I look for the similarities. So first off, we have the hand here, we have the hand here, and we have the world. This is actually a really beautiful reading. So aspiration is the key word. And between this hand image, this hand, and this hand, and the fact that the world here looks very similar to this tower in the background, I definitely see that we are jutting forward, but not only that, we are grabbing the world with our hands. And so we're not going to let go. We are going to continue moving forward, and we're not going to let anything slip through our fingers. I find that to be really beautiful, especially because this is an open hand, but over here we have the Statue of Liberty and she's clutching it. And so I can get some pretty deep readings from pairing these two bad boys together. So I don't know, y'all, I'm so excited to use my Voyager Tarot. I really haven't used it as much as I thought I would, but now it's like, oh, I feel like I kind of like unlocked it. Like there's a key here. I can kind of make sense of this super chaotic imagery because I have an Oracle deck that's more pared back, but yet is still kind of bright and garish in a way that is all the loving ways. So that's one match that I've been playing with Voyager Tarot. The other one that I have been using is also brand new to me. And I've been using it with Raven's Prophecy too. They've just, all three of these decks have stayed out on my table, so they're definitely not in a monogamous relationship. So this is Totem, the Totem Tarot by Rachel White. So the Totem Flower Essences, the creator created this tarot deck as well. So y'all know here that I love a good pip deck. And so I find the Totem Tarot just has had a natural spot in my collection. I actually have quite a bit of black and white decks that are more pippish in nature. Like I have Tarot Botanical, I have the Bug Tarot, I have Raven's Prophecy. But I feel like even though I have a lot of decks that are similar to this, none of them quite do it like this. And so, for example, we have the moons. The moons are the cups and crystals are the pentacles. And then we have the Ace of Worlds here. So I'm seeing 9 of moons, which is so perfect because we have all of these different planets here. And I don't know how many planets are featured here, but like if we count Pluto as a planet, which I know we don't do anymore, like it's basically 9 planets, right? 9 moons, 9 planets, you know, there's some similarities here. We also here have the 2 of crystals, so that balancing act. So what this is really reminding me of is like the concept of how everybody has to balance off of each other in order to receive success. So it's less so about the like traditional meaning of 9 of cups and more so about like how everyone in this community, which is 9, just like these 9 planets here, can work together to keep each other in this gravitational balance. Love it. So I find it to be just really easy to read with. I look at the shapes that are in here in the totem. I look at how those shapes are mimicked here in the Voyager, and I just work with it. But the deck in itself is really powerful in its own right, even when I don't pair it with things. So I appreciate, this is, for example, Gabriel. This is the Magician. Other than my Goddess Tarot, I don't have any deity work decks at all. So I think it's cool that I finally get to have one. I think it's cool. So I'll let you go ahead and read this if you would like. I'm going to flip it. So you get a fair bit of information for all of the deities that are in the majors, and also for the court cards as well. And I think it's beautiful. Here we go. It's just really beautiful. I love it. So I've always been a fan of like geometric imagery, so I think I'm taking to this like incredibly well. I don't think it took long at all for me to figure out how to use it. Once like I started pairing it with stuff, I was like, ooh, this is where it goes. Alrighty guys, so I don't even know how many decks that was, but I think that's all I have to share with y'all today. So I hope that all of you have a beautiful, wonderful, super great day. I appreciate y'all being here, and if y'all have any comments, please let me know down below. Y'all give me really good suggestions, and I love to try out what y'all suggest. So until next time, I will see y'all later.